Web3 R&D podcast.
Stand together for something revolutionary. Smart contracts, Ethereum, Polkadot, Polygon, Matic, DEX, DeFi.
Badass people.
Inspired by
Badass scientists.
Welcome to 3327 FM.
Hello everyone, my name is Vladimir and this is another episode of 3327 FM podcast. Today we have a very special show because we had a very unique experience. We were actually present at DevCon at Colombia, and today we are going to talk about how is it in Colombia, what we saw at DevCon, and what is the future of Ethereum ecosystem. And I have a very interesting co-host today, people from our team. So please guys, introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, my name is Andrija Raicevic. I'm a community manager for 3327. I also attended DevCon and this is my first time shooting a podcast episode, so thanks everyone for having me.
Thank you very much. And like before, we have Dragana with us today.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm happy to share with you once again my experience in Web3 since I'm a beginner. So yeah, let's see how.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And finally, we have another new guy,
Lav Leon. I'm Leon. I do Web3 DevRel at MPP Workshop, and I also attended DevCon as a volunteer though.
Awesome. So without further ado, let's proceed and let's hear how it is on DevCon and what's going on, what was going on in Colombia.
technology news.
Because we read it first.
What is DevCon first, and how do you see DevCon?
Yeah, well, maybe Leon can tell us a bit more, maybe because he was a volunteer, so I don't want to spoil a thing right away.
Okay, no problem. So essentially, DevCon is one of the biggest Web3 conferences in the world. This was the sixth DevCon, and the last one was the fifth, of course, but it was 3 years ago, right? So before COVID. The last one was in Japan, and before that, I don't really know. I haven't checked it out, but this one was in Bogota, Colombia. And yeah, it's a really, really big conference. I mean, I think there was about 6,000 people. There was about 400 talks, all in all. It was 4 days in total, and the convention center was really, really big. Maybe we can show some pictures later, but yeah.
Yeah, we are definitely going to show some pictures. You're right. Like I think I read something like 450 speakers even.
Yeah.
So it's really a huge number of people there speaking, and 6,000 attendees. So it was, but I didn't have the impression of any crowd because it is a huge place where it was.
Yeah, like 6 or 5 floors, I think. If we include the basement, the hacker's basement, as like the coolest place, definitely.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it started by celebrating the merge, and actually it was the merge of all, I would say, like everything, all experiences, people, stories, products. It was like the first time for me to attend a conference in Web3, and I can say I have high expectations.
Cool. Maybe we can show some pictures while we are talking. So this is the venue that we are talking about, and you can see from these images that it is really huge. This is actually us after the conference celebrating. But generally, yeah, my question is, okay, so it's a huge event, but what is the importance of this event? Leon said already that it is probably the most influential and most important Ethereum conference. What was your feeling there? You know, like what kind of people come to DevCon?
Right, well, I think that generally, like, the Web3 community gathers around big conferences, like, for example, in Paris as well. ECC was happening in July, and now DevCon. I think a lot of the people that went to ECC went to DevCon as well. I saw a lot of people that I already met, you know, in Paris. And DevCon, specifically in Colombia, in Bogota, I think it's a really, really interesting place to make such a big conference, because Latin America essentially is a very good grounds for crypto to rise up, because I think that countries that have underdeveloped financial systems and general public systems have a tendency to go towards crypto, to go towards alternative methods of transacting finance. Essentially, in some sense, they're more. They want to go faster, and they want to because it really helps them. Next DevCon is always voted, so there's a forum site where people vote on the next location. I think actually Belgrade was proposed as a location at one point. I'm not sure how that went.
I think I heard a little bit about it. It's not very likely because of the venues of such size. You know, it's like
yeah. Belgrade doesn't have a very big venue, like a venue that big for.
Yeah, at least I mean it does, but then all other activities will be too far away. So I think this is probably one of the reasons that this is maybe not the best solution for DevCon, but maybe it's a good solution for some other conferences of a smaller scale. Bit smaller scale. Nevertheless, yeah. So as far as I understood, you know, like the idea was actually to, I mean, the whole idea of Web3 is to solve the problems of the world, not just the rich world, right?
Yeah.
And I would even say, especially not rich world, less developed countries and so on. So basically, the idea to organize everything in Bogota was actually really good one, I think. And what are your experience, Andrija? How do you find Bogota and Colombia in general?
That's a great question. Bogota is a huge city, and just landing there, the vibe was very different. It was, I can honestly say, it was hype from day one. And just like coming to DevCon, being part of the story, and just like learning that Ethereum Foundation is trying to like organize DevCon on like different continents every time. It's amazing. I love social inclusion. So yeah, I really love that about DevCon.
Tell me, you know, like, did you experience maybe any kind of, you know, because I remember when we were going to Colombia, people were telling us, be aware, it's not safe there, you should watch for your things and stuff like that. And I know that you have had a very rich social life once we were there. So did you experience any unpleasant things?
Well, not really. Coming to Bogota, yeah, we heard a lot of stuff about like you have to take care, not go to the side streets, but once you're like, when your mindset is like, okay, I want to blend in and just like see what the locals do and how they live, I don't think there's gonna be much problems. And if you're of course self-aware, although we maybe had one incident that was in Medellin, where we had a minor car accident, but I don't know. I don't want to spill all the tea yet. Yeah. You know, maybe we leave that for later.
Okay, this is new for me. I was not with you in Medellin, so I don't know about that. Okay. But generally, my experience was actually I was well, maybe at some points, at some certain places in the city, you may feel a little bit, you know, unsafe for a while. But I really didn't have any bad experience. Even on the contrary, actually, I really enjoyed talking with Colombians, and they were so kind and polite and nice with us strangers. So I actually really had a good time there. Maybe you know, like some people had. I heard about some of the DevCon participants had some smaller or issues, but actually I think this is the common opinion about
the rules of the big city, you know. I mean, it's not about the country that much. It's just the crowd, the tourists, and everything that goes with that.
Yeah,
so,
basically.
Yeah, I basically also feel the same.
It happens everywhere, but my general feeling about people from Bogota and Colombia in general is that they're very warm, welcoming people, you know.
Yes.
So definitely plan on going back sometime.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, and also what I liked is that organizers of the conference actually use the conference to include local people working on the conference, preparing meals. I heard that some of the you know, everything that was excess of food and stuff was also given to some shelters, and it was socially responsible event, I would say, and I really appreciate it.
And one more thing, so DevCon was from Tuesday to Friday, right? So Monday there was other events, but also there was ETH Latam, which is a conference only for people, it was in Spanish, right? That was the whole point. And the whole day, the same venue was filled with all the people who speak Spanish. So that was pretty good also,
They actually had some really cool lectures which I wanted to attend, but Spanish was a problem for me the whole trip. When I started speaking a bit of Spanish and then people started replying, I would immediately go to Italian, and then they would speak in Italian, and then I would just realize I don't even know Italian that well, so what am I doing?
Esperanto. That was my solution.
And non comprendo.
Okay, cool.
3327 FM.
The next thing that I would like to discuss a little bit is the conference itself. I think this is the most interesting part. So first of all, before we talk about topics and lectures that you liked, one of my impressions was actually that people who are visiting DevCon are actually mostly highly technical people with a lot of knowledge in blockchain and Web3 technologies, either with some sort of computer science background, or maybe sometimes in academia background. But generally, there were no people shilling their projects or talking. Nobody actually mentioned the price of crypto or bear market or stuff like that. Did you notice that?
Yeah, actually I did. I think the reason for that is exactly because it's a bear market. And it's not an NFT conference.
They work at McDonald's now.
No, but seriously, the thing is that in general you would expect people to shill to you, but I haven't had a single person shill anything to me.
Yeah.
And I talked to a lot of people on DevCon, so
yeah, the atmosphere was great, because I felt like the narrative of the whole conference was okay, we're here, we want to learn something new, we're open to new ideas, new technologies, inclusion. So I think there was a bit of shilling, but it was not relevant.
Yeah, how I saw it actually is that Tetris snake game, if you remember. So it goes all around everywhere, and it eats and grows after each bite of, let's say, food. In this case, learning, knowledge, and in the end it actually looks like a blockchain itself, just from knowledge of everything we all, who met there, shared with each other. So it was really, that was the vibe, at least that I felt.
Yeah, another thing that I actually kind of liked, and it was a little bit surprise for me, is that I expected, especially on these first lectures when we were talking about the future of Ethereum and the whole ecosystem, and I was expecting, some sort of well-established agenda, strategy for next 5 years or things like that. But instead, I got a feeling that the whole sentiment is actually, let's let the community decide what is going to happen with Ethereum. We are not going to really impose anything, and let's see together what is the future of Ethereum, which is something that it's very positive in my opinion, because we are the ones who are building, and we want to be the part of this history. And actually, if nobody is actually imposing anything, this is something that was new for me. You had the same feeling?
Yeah, but it was also needed, I would say, because we are the ones who are or will be the users of it, and we are the ones, all of us, who will be in charge of planning and organizing adoption and all of that, driving it,
It's really
so
cool.
It's really
I have a slide somewhere, it's on Twitter, some guy had it's a pyramid, and it was like layer 2 at the top, layer 1 in the middle, and then layer 0. So in layer 2 you have Optimism, Polygon, Arbitrum, blah blah blah. Layer 1 you have Ethereum, Solana, Near, etc. And then layer 0, instead of having whatever the tech term for layer 0 is, it was like people.
Yeah.
And I really like that, because I think without people using and trying to create stuff, there would be no Ethereum.
Yeah. One final question regarding the vibe is, how was the vibe?
Okay, let me start with this one. The vibe was awesome because aside from all the floors, all the lectures, all the community hubs which we are yet to mention, there was a music stage which was basically producing all the vibes for DevCon. Me and I should probably say our colleague Alexander, shout out Alexander, we're chilling basically every day at the music stage. There was a venue, there were some local artists, and they had their music, which was awesome, and but what appealed to me the most was they brought a whole box full of ukulele.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we learned something about blockchain and Web3, let's learn something about music. So we were playing ukulele over there, and everyone was hating us because we sucked.
Badass people.
Inspired by a badass scientist.
Okay, very good. So the next thing that we can talk a little bit about is actually what I suppose the listeners are most keen to hear is what was the lectures that you liked, and what do you think? What are some kind of, let's say, general narratives and most important topics, buzzwords, and so on. So.
Right, well, I don't know. I think entering bear market is always an interesting thing for Web3 because, as we mentioned before, no shilling happens, or very little shilling happens, and people really focus on building stuff. And I'm not saying anything new here, but I think that vibe really comes out during the bear market, and you can really see the people who are there for the tech or for the betterment of the community, or whatever you want to say. So I was volunteering. I was actually doing I was volunteering at a stage. I had 2 shifts. It was about 6 hours each. It was the second and the fourth day, and I was basically bound to that stage. And I listened to all of the talks there, and what really struck me was the fact that there was so DevCon had tracks, right? So it had different tracks. It had tracks from dev tooling, layer 2s, layer 1s, remind me of some more. There was global
UX, product,
literally anything you can think of. And then one of the ones that I really liked was global impact and opportunity. I think that was the name.
Yeah.
And the fact why I really like it, because it was because I could rest my mind a little bit off of all of the tech that I listened to. And for example, I could listen to a guy sing a song about Ethereum, and it was really nice. I mean, he mentioned
coordinator song.
That last day that was volunteering, I was very, very tired. After our talk and after some of the other talks that I listened to, that were really interesting. Arbitrum had a nice talk that was they tried to solve withdrawing from Arbitrum from layer 2, which usually takes more 7 days. You could maybe speed it up with prediction markets, which was really wow. How do you even think about that? But at the end there was a guy talking about culture and about why Ethereum is cypherpunk. That's the name of the talk. I actually mentioned it in my tweet somewhere, but he was talking about why Web3 people do Web3 stuff. And there was a manifesto actually that you can read online, and it's written by some guy named Eric. I forgot the last name, but he basically wrote Cypherpunk Manifesto back in 1993, and he exactly mentions what the Web3 community is doing right now. And I was like, how?
We can put that in the description.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But it was not all about songs. Actually, this Global Impact was really interesting track to follow, as you say. Actually, it was also about some general perspectives and how generally Web3 can influence the problems of the world. So and a little bit of broad perspective, and I liked it a lot as well. I agree on that. Okay, but guys, if you have to pull out, let's say, 2 or 3 buzzwords, what would you say? What was the main kind of topic?
Well,
was there any, by the way? I mean, or it is interesting. We have to explain that if you are, there, and you cannot follow everything, you cannot possibly follow even a small percentage of it, because it is like the lectures and presentations are, changing very fast. There are several tracks. Even if you just have some kind of plan, sometimes you're late on a lecture, you cannot enter, and stuff like that. So it's very hard actually to see, I would say, more than 10-15% of it. So I suppose that everyone has a different kind of feeling and different kind of impression of the conference because of that. If you would like to discuss some of the most, I would say, important topics, what do you think they are?
Well, my impression is that like ZK and DAOs with the governance issues are like still the fundamentals and the backbones of the Web3. But what was my also peak of the conference as some future narrative, maybe AI, machine learning, and metaverse for sure. I also catched a great talk from Georgia Rakusen on metaverse and how to reach users in metaverse, and it was really interesting. I mean, from the user perspective, from the user research perspective. So yeah, just a recommendation for that one.
What about you, Vlad?
Well, I would agree with Dragana that, especially I would say zero knowledge and generally privacy. I mean, there was a whole track this time for zero knowledge and privacy, and basically it is definitely one of the future problems, not current problems, but one of the future topics, and topics that we will be dealing more and more generally. What I also found maybe interesting is, I was expecting maybe a little bit more about NFTs, but maybe it is only my impression. I don't know. It was not much about NFTs. Like this was not really a hot topic this time, right?
Or maybe not the conference for that. I know there was one lecture about it, and at the end it was like the empty hall for that lecture, and then the lecture didn't show up. So. But it didn't happen.
What was interesting also is, to hear a little bit about some of the, I would say, more distance prediction for how the Ethereum will look like after these phases that we are going to have after the merge. We have Surge and Verge and Purge and so on. So it was interesting for me to hear what are the issues. I was listening to a lecture about worklet trees and what are the challenges. There is also already a testnet working, but there are some challenges. It's very slow. It's not as economic as the current network.
Yeah, most of the lectures were highly technical, and what I liked the most was that there was one lecture by a guy, shout out Vince Major, and he had a lecture called "My Mother Hates Your Project," which was really standing out from all the lecture names I've seen on the list. And he was talking about how slang, Web3 slang, such as Fran, Hodl, Wagmi, and I don't know, many others, but you get the gist. We're actually creating like a barrier for entry for people just coming into crypto. And I remember like starting out in crypto, first thing I did was like, okay, I'm gonna go to YouTube, I'm gonna type out all the phrases I need to learn, like to get into crypto. So I just typed in like 25, I don't know.
Vocabulary.
Yeah, but yeah, basically.
Yeah, there was a similar lecture also called Positive Framing and Communications for Web3, also about terminology and how it, it's increasing that gap, like for entry. So great, good recommendation.
Yeah, definitely. So for example, Reddit recently made like essentially they made NFTs, but they didn't call them NFTs, they called them digital collectibles.
Yeah.
And a lot of people actually bought into that. So I think that on one side, the communication, the way Web3 communication works, it's pretty technical, and it pulls some roots from, I wouldn't want to say 4chan, but like...
but there's the presence of 4chan, definitely.
Yes, definitely. And I think that... like all the short words like GM, WAGMI, whatever you want to say, all of them are they're present because they're part of the way Web3 grew,
Yeah.
Yes, as far as I understood this talk, and I agree, it's a very interesting one. Is also, not even in the terms of like the slang. Okay, the slang can remain in the community because the slang gives a little bit of character.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when we are trying to communicate the services to the, let's say, Web 2 users, regular users, people who are not into Web 3 yet, and the problem is like we are using so much of this terminology and actually not saying anything that regular people can understand.
Yeah.
And this is sometimes a very big problem, not sometimes, but always a very big problem for adoption. And we are constantly complaining about adoption. So this is one of the ways how we can solve it. I found this lecture too very interesting. Also, I don't know, what do you think about DAOs? You mentioned, Dragana, that DAOs were kind of a topic there, and lot of talks about governance. I found also interesting a lot of talks regarding privacy and actually even talking about what is the future of wallets on Ethereum, and how we can achieve the proof of humanity in a proper way, and how the next generation of wallets are going to look like, and so on. So I find this everything connected because governance in DAOs and generally requires some of the features that are attributed to privacy, and it kinds of all is mixed together. So what do you think?
Yeah, also what Lav mentioned is the digital collectibles and Web3 IDs. So it was in focus as well, Web3 identity as it is, and how to build it so it has some value, meaning on digital collectibles and everything we can translate into NFTs, into some proofs, and guarantee for something that is. So yeah, I would add that as one of the topics that was also in that track of DAOs, I would say.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so what do you think, guys? What is the current state of Web3? If you have to after this conference, and generally, how do you feel?
Make it or break it, but we know it's not gonna break.
We're gonna make it.
Yeah.
No, we're going to make Web3. That's what I meant.
You could have said WAGMI, but you didn't.
Well, there you go.
There is another thing I would like to mention. We also had a presentation there, right? And it was one of our projects that we are very proud of. It's actually in the alpha phase at the moment, and two of our colleagues, not present today with us, but Milos and Uroš actually presented the project. What is the name of the project?
The name of the project is Web3 Tech Radar, and I have to brag in their regard a little bit, because I was attending the presentation and the lecture hall was full. People were waiting in line basically to get in and hear their 10-minute speech, which really warmed my heart, when I was listening.
Yes, I was really excited. Everybody was, watching it and everything.
We were wearing T-shirts.
Yeah, and we are also giving out some.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it is a project. If you are interested in Web3 technology stacks, and if you would like to see our opinion about which technology stacks are actually currently the ones that you should be using, or maybe you should not using, you can check out the Web3 Technology Radar. But it's not only our project. This is something that we are actually doing for the community and with the community. And the whole idea is that if you think that some of the technologies are not there and they should be there, or maybe that they are there but shouldn't be there, we invite you to actually fill in the form and contact us. And basically, we are a group of researchers, and our job is actually to figure out this whole ecosystem of Web3 and share it with you completely for free. So yeah, this is Technology Radar. Now, after this part, basically, I would like to just mention a few things that happened after the conference. We were there for like 2 weeks, right? Some of you actually longer than myself. But what I would like to ask you is what kind of side events were happening there, and what kind of side events? There were actually some. I think, if I remember well, Lav, you actually were there before us, and you participated in some side events by Polygon and some other.
Yeah, that's right. So how it works usually with Web3 conferences is that it's not only the conference, right? It's like at least a week around the conference is full with events. I mean, the way why people do it, why companies do it, is because they're just piggybacking on the main conference, expecting people to come early and leave late. So I arrived on the 5th of October, and DevCon was starting at like 11, I think.
Yeah,
11?
it was the 11th. Yep.
Yeah. So I visited Solana's Hacker House for a couple of days, and there was ETH Bogota. That's ETH Global's hackathon in Bogota, of course. It was 3 days, so it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then on Monday there was Polygon Connect, there was DeFi Bogota, there was another one, there was the whole day, there was Shelling Point as well.
Yeah.
And then there was DevCon, like the next day. So yeah, there's a bunch of events.
It was a good warm up before the DevCon.
Definitely. I think like whenever like this is just advice to anybody who goes to a Web3 conference, just go a little before and leave a little late.
Yeah. And another advice: download the Eventbrite, register for all the events, and see where you want to go. Then
actually, this is the first time I actually downloaded the app. And the app is like way more practical than.
We're not getting paid to say this.
Not yet.
Yeah, well, you also attended like some crypto parties, right? Like, can you name drop your favorite one?
Right, well, how it works is all the time, like every big conference has Divinity and Rave. So that's Rave is, of course, Ave's rave.
Yeah.
Rave. And then you have Divinity, which is by MakerDAO. So the guys who made Dai, they make Divinity, of course. And then other than that, there's a bunch of people. So every night there was some kind of either networking party or just a party or just like a cocktail hour or whatever. Actually, my team, one of the guys that I was with, so we went on Monday evening, actually. We won a sponsorship prize because we were participating in the hackathon. And then we went to the guys. So the guys who sponsored, so we won their prize. We went to their event. It's AP Wine and Sismo. They had like a party. It was on top of a very nice hotel and had really, really nice views. Really had fun, actually. But like the thing, for example, that even though it lasted until like 2 a.m., it's just networking. Like there was no actual party, right?
Yeah, it is.
And usually it's like that for me. And for crypto parties, only like, for example, Rave explicitly is like, guys, there's no networking at our parties, which is interesting. Like because most of the parties just turn into like, however loud the party is, however many people there is, it's always just networking.
Yeah, they tried to be direct about it, but I don't know if it works.
So, for example, I don't know if did you guys go into Rave or in the end? No, in the end. Okay, yeah, Rave was tough.
The line was endless, so.
Yeah, right. Like when I got in, there was a big line, and then like you expect that you walk in after the line, but there's actually another line inside this time. It was
Careful
crazy.
with lines.
Right.
I'm so happy. I just turned away and went back to the
Yeah.
hotel. Man.
Well,
when I saw the line, it was like, no way.
the party was actually pretty good, but like the venue was like half open, so it was kind of cold. That's one thing, and then it had actually places where you could just stand and not hear so much music, so people actually got worked.
Oh, okay.
And
so
if you compare it to like Paris was just a big concert venue, and you just go in, you can't go out, and there's no room where there's like at least a little less loud music, you know. So Paris Raves was better, in my opinion. Oh wait, I have.
Bogota also had like a great local nightlife.
Cool.
There's Ronnie.
Yeah, we got to see. We visited a few clubs in the Zona Rossa, and the general impression was that people from Bogota, of course, like reggaeton, which is amazing. And by the end of it, I think I learned some songs by heart, but probably not because my Spanish sucks. But that's okay. Yeah, and they also like techno music. So. We tried like learning some of their dances and that kind of stuff, but it's just not working out, man.
Yeah.
And they mix everything with salsa at the end.
I think I learned a couple of steps.
I'm speaking with Web3. I don't know about you guys.
Okay. So for the end, you actually visited not only Bogota, you visited one more city,
Medellin,
right?
yeah.
And there were some activities there, but they were not related to DevCon or.
Well, yeah, it was like at Medellin. It was a smaller, of course, gathering, and it was organized by some new people to Web3. So I was happy to just meet some new faces and new people. And it was really nice. I mean, we were late for the lectures, and also it was all in Spanish, so we missed that part. But for networking, we were ready, and yeah, we visited one party. I mean, networking party, and it was very nice actually. But most of the people were coming from DevCon, so it was kind of related. But Medellin is a bit different city, I would say, with some more tropical vibe, even though it doesn't have a seaside moment. But yeah, everything is. Andrea maybe can share a bit more, but he explored more than me.
Bogota is basically 2.6 kilometers above sea level.
Yeah.
And Medellin was, I don't know, I'm just gonna say like 1.5, something like that.
2.6 thousand, right?
What?
1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I made a mistake.
I think you just say 2.6 kilometers, which is okay. Yeah. Okay, kilometers, not meters.
3327 FM.
Yeah, so Medellin was a really fun city. We were there for like 3-4 days, but we really got to see the soul of the city.
Yeah.
So what we visited was, we were actually situated in like a neighborhood called Poblado, which is very nice and very secure, which was really
resort-like, I would say.
Yeah, it's not like the local life over there, but we got to see like Comuna 13, which is one part of the Medellin which is famous for its graffiti. Maybe we can roll it on the pictures over there. And it was a really nice walk, just like going through the neighborhood and looking at the local graffiti, you know.
Yeah, and there were also a lot of Web3 art on the streets.
Is it right?
Yeah,
very
like
cool.
apes and all of that. It was
Very
really
cool.
nice
That's
to
right.
see it
Very
in
cool.
the real life.
So there is a spirit of.
There
Web3
is definitely a spirit.
There was like a whole wall which was painted in Bored Ape Club. Yeah.
That was cool.
Okay, so thank you very much. It was very interesting to hear all your experience. For the end, I would like to ask you just one question. I don't know if it is simple or not, but think a little bit. Did you got some kind of inspiration? What is going to be your personal focus after this DevCon, and what are the topics that you would like to explore more?
Okay, let me jump in. My main takeaway from the conference is that that the Web3 is a really fast-paced space. And there's a lot of stuff that you can learn about, and it's better just like knowing what you don't know rather than only going too deep into what you already know. So definitely my main takeaway is like I got a huge inspiration to research the space.
Yeah, I also got a huge inspiration to research users. So I'm interested in all of that. All the people who are not devs and are actually deep into the Web3 and are not maybe related to NFTs only. So that was and like if I need to choose one word to describe everything I saw on DevCon, that would be diversity. So it kind of can be an answer for everything you asked me related to DevCon. So.
Yeah, if you're working, just a hypothetical question, if you're working on a new project, then what would you like more, to work with the existing Web3 community and understand Web3 community and Web3 users better, or actually work on ways how to introduce Web2 people, or let's say non-Web3 people into the Web3?
I would choose the second option, so the adoption, because it's how we gonna use everything we built so far. So how we gonna put the meaning to it.
Thank you.
Right, so I think one of the things that I pulled out of DevCon was the fact that I think just focusing on making a local society, so like the local area, for example, Belgrade, Serbia, making it into a hub for Web3, because I think Balkans has a lot of potential, and we already have a lot of good companies and a lot of good communities here in Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, and broader.
Montenegro
as well, of course. Sorry. But I think that after visiting DevCon, after visiting Lisbon back in summer, I think that Belgrade really has the potential to do that, to become a hub for Web3, and I'm definitely going to try working on that.
Yeah, we can post up the link for the DevCon forum below, because there's already a thread about Belgrade becoming a next DevCon destination.
Vote for us.
Another thing that I would like to that we post below this video is actually that after this episode you maybe pick one lecture from the DevCon that we can link, so each one of you, so that we can actually share with the listeners what are our best choices. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. This was a lightweight talk, but I enjoyed it a lot. Although I was there with you, but somehow we didn't have time to chat like this and actually talk about it and see our common impressions and how do you feel about it. I find it as a very valuable experience. I think it's a great conference, and I will definitely not miss the next one as well, wherever it is.
I think so. There's two. I think so. One of the places was Vietnam, I think. And Istanbul in Turkey.
Yeah, that's the most likely option.
If Istanbul happens, oh my god, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, awesome. And it's close.
Wherever it is, I think it's a great event, and I really enjoy and like where the community is going and how this whole effort is developing. So, guys, if you have any questions, if you would like to learn more about specific topics, today we were not talking too much about technical stuff, more like our experiences. But if you like to hear more about it, don't hesitate. You can write to us and we can chat, we can exchange thoughts with you. Thank you very much for listening us. Next time we are back to our ordinary schedule, and this is it for today. 3327 FM.
Woo!
Badass people inspired by a badass scientist.
3327 FM.
Putting the 3 in web